So that's a pretty great return. That was a 52% return on our bankroll for the month of August, that's insane returns. Hey there, welcome to Super Stock Bros. My name is Ace, and today we're going to be going over our month in review and what we're going to be doing for our next play. So stay tuned. Alright, so looking at our bankroll, we're at about $38,000 right now, which is pretty great. It was a pretty amazing month. I'll go over it, but essentially we did a 50% return on our bankroll in just a month. So, I mean, that was like one play a week, and each play yielded, an average of around 13%. So that was pretty great. We're going to carry that momentum into the next month and see if we can reproduce our results. It may not be as good, but we're going to be trying to go for something similar. So let's see what we have in store after we go over our plays. Okay, so let's look at our plays and what our return was on our initial bankroll of about $24,000. So we had the Microsoft play that we started off with was the August 20th, 282.75. We got an 8% return on our risk there. So we risked about 25,000 and we were going for about 2,000. And yeah, we got similar to those numbers. It wasn't exactly 8%, so like this might differ a little bit, but that's what we got back, which was pretty great. That was our first play. Second play was the Microsoft August 27th. We actually got a huge return from that. It was a 14% because actually Microsoft was close to the 280 range. So it was a little bit higher on risk. The profit or probability on that was about 82%. But I knew that Microsoft was going to bounce back up to the 300 range, and it did shortly after. So we got a great return on that. Etsy. So this is when Etsy fell to around 185, and I knew that it was going to bounce back up as well. Once you're tracking the stock for so long, as I had been for months, I knew kind of what the ebb and flow was, and I knew that Etsy was going to go back above the 200 range. Actually, I called it 197 in the interim, then probably up to 200 and then 230. Now, of course, you might be thinking it, and yes, these are all kind of educated guesses, but even if it didn't reach within the time frame that I was suggesting, I would have just kept rolling over until it did, because I do really believe in Etsy as a stock. I have a firm conviction in it, and I wouldn't be making these plays unless I had firm convictions in each one of these. So once again, I did an Etsy 182.5 and 175 when it was around the 190 range. It had dipped a little bit to like 195 after hitting the 200 that I was expecting. And I thought this was a great play. It was just an easy one to pick off because, I mean, a 13% return, that was just a great return regardless. Overall, we got $13,600 around that range for all of our plays. That was a pretty great return on our account. So now we're dealing with, after this was an approximate starting range, now we're up to our $38,000 bankroll that I was talking about earlier. So that's a pretty great return. That was a 52% return on our bankroll for the month of August, that's insane returns. It's not going to be that big consistently. So I'm not expecting this return for the month of September, but we're going to go for it because we're going to be very aggressive with this particular account. I'm just going all in because I want to achieve this in a faster timeline than I normally would with a bigger account. Normally you diversify, you take less risks, you put in less money for each trade, but I'm literally going all in with this amount for each trade. And that's what I said I would do from the very beginning, and that's what I'm going to stick to. So what is our next play that we're going to be going for here? Well, I set up a list of pretty good spread tickers to play against. And what I mean by good is, I'm looking for like consistency, whether it's lockdown proof, because really when you're playing a spread, you don't want to be affected by news in a short time period, right? Like if I make a play for the next 2 weeks on, say, something like Costco, and they say that there's going to be a lockdown on all of the stores in the United States or whatever. Well, we witnessed it. Costco went down a lot at first, right? And then they showed that a bunch of retail buyers were stocking up, and then it went back up, right? You want to avoid those kind of volatile fluctuations. So you're looking for consistency, you're looking for stability, you're looking for these gigantic companies. You're never going to go wrong with Apple or Microsoft or Amazon. It's just very hard for these ones to come down quite a bit unless there is some substantial news that really affects the way that the company functions in the future, right? So that's what I'm going for. This is my tier 1. Essentially, these are, I'm a tech guy, so I know tech stocks very well. So that's my tier 1. Tier 2, these are very strong stocks, some tech, some retail, some of the well-known producers, obviously like J&J and Lowe's, Honeywell. So these are very consistent, but the problem is they may not be lockdown proof or they have cheap options. My tier 3, these are like the last resorts. These are the massive guys, but they are affected by lockdowns. They're affected by volatile swings. Maybe the options are not as good. So again, that's what I'm looking at. I'm going to be looking at all of these trades. I really wanted to get into Facebook this morning, but it rose faster than I could actually play it. Microsoft did the same thing, and so did Apple. So those were the main plays I was looking at. We'll be looking for the play. I'll probably be mostly looking at Microsoft. I'll post the play in the Discord chat. Maybe I'll put up a vid for it at lunch or something like this, or definitely by the end of the day. I'm giving this 2 days if the market doesn't dip, because I like to open positions on dips. Basically, you're buying low and selling high, right? So I'll wait for a dip. If it doesn't come by Wednesday, then I'll just bite the bullet and just try to go for a riskier type of play where maybe the stock is already up and I get into a spread. I don't like to do that, but that might need to happen because it looks like this market is very resilient right now, and it's just a bull run that just keeps on going for the moment. All right, Super Stock Bros, that's it for me. And like I said, I'll post those plays. And until then, let's make those gains.